All right. Hi, friends. This is um, a mini lesson on the Red Belt song. The Red Belt song is Old MacDonald. Now, something to make note of in Old MacDonald is that the version in your packet is the same, but the way that it's notated is a little bit more difficult to read. So it's 16th notes and they're all kind of squished together. So I have a different version of Old MacDonald that's located on our Recorder 2020 Google Drive. When you go to the Recorder 2020 Google Drive and you go all the way to the bottom, there's a document that says Red Belt Printout Old MacDonald or says something like that. If you use that and print it out or either look at it at your screen, it is the one that you see on my screen. So it's a little bit easier to read because of the way that it's notated. So if you do wind up using the one in your packet, that's fine. Like I said, all of the notes are exactly the same. It's just the rhythms look a little different. And regardless, you would be able to use this video to help you learn the song. So a couple of tips for learning the Red Belt before we start. As always, we go slowly, give ourselves time to think about each note. This song does not use high C or high D. So it uses all the notes we know except for high C and high D. Now there's a couple of sequences that I suggest practicing, and the sequences, most of them were in the new note high D mini lesson. So you may have already practiced them, but one of them is G, low D, G, which sounds like this. So practice that one. Then there's G, low D, low E. That one. You might be able to hear some of that Old MacDonald in there already. And there's also low E, low D, then up to B, which is one that happens multiple times in this song. All right, so let's practice those real quick. G, low D, G. Me first, then you. Your turn. All right, now let's do the next one. G, low D, low E. Me first, then you. Your turn. All right. Then low E, low D, up to B. All right, ready? Me first. Your turn. All right. So, and then our last thing for our last tip is looking for patterns. The song is pretty long, it's 4 lines long, but there's a lot of big repeated patterns, and it's a song that you already should know pretty well, right? So let's move on to our 4 steps. You could put your recorder down or your pencil if you're using a pencil instead to practice. And step 1, let's clap and speak those rhythms. It's all quarter notes, half notes, and eighth notes on this version. So here we go. 1, 2, nice and slow. Ta, 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 ti, ta, 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 ti, ta, 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 ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, ti, ta, 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 ta. I did a little bit of singing in there too, because it's just, you get to a certain point and you're like, oh, I know what this is going to sound like. So you start singing along, and that's okay. So if you need to do that again, rewind the video and do it again. If not, we're going to move on to saying and singing those note names, which means that we need to identify our notes. So we're going to start, and we start on a G, right? It's on a line. It's on the second line every good. So we got G, then again G, then again G. Then we go down to that guy who's hanging on to the bottom there. If he's hanging on to the bottom, that is our low D. He stays tight onto the bottom of the staff. So we got D. Then we move up to our bottom line. Our bottom line is E, E, back to D, right? Then we move up to the third line. If we move up to the third line, every good boy starts with B, so we know that's a B, B. Then we move on to A, right, because it goes down to the second space. Then we end up with G. And then at the end of this line, probably the trickiest part of this song is these notes that come after a rest at the end of the line. A lot of friends move their eyes to the next line before they play that note, and then they skip it. So make sure you're not skipping these notes at the end of the line. This low D is really important, right? And then we go back to G. We got G, G, G. Wait a second. Take a look at the first two measures of that second line and the first two measures of the first line. Are they the same? I think so. So if they look the same, that means they're going to sound the same, right? And if they sound the same, that means we're going to be using the same notes. So it's G, 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 D. And we know it looks the same as up there on the first line. So we got another E, E, D. Then if you keep looking, E-I-E-I-O, E-I-E-I-O. Every time you sing that in a song, it sounds the same, right? So after you do it the first time, it's going to sound the same all of the other times. B, B, A, G. Then at the end of that line, we got a with a. It's hanging on tight to the bottom. That means they're D's, right? D, D. Up to the second line, G, G, G. D, D. G, G, G. You could see why I had us play G, low D, G earlier, right? Because it happens over and over. Then if we look at the rest of the third line, do any of those notes go higher or lower on the staff? No. So that means that they're all the same note. So they're on a line, they're on the second line. That means that they're a G. So we can just, all of these are G's. You just play G over and over and over again, right? And then if we look all the way at the bottom, oops, didn't want to do that. We look all the way at the bottom line, that bottom line is the same as the top line, right? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go G, whoops, that's a pen, not a highlighter. Silly me. G, 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 D, E, E, D, B, B, A, G, right? That's our whole song. So let's do step 2 and say and sing those note names. If you want to use your hand staff, you can. Low D on your hand staff would be down here, hanging out you would be touching the bottom of your hand, not touching your pinky finger, because your pinky finger is E, right? So low D would be down here. So let's try it. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, nice and slow. G, 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 D, E, E, D, up to B, 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 A, G, rest, D, G, 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 D, E, E, D, up to B, 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 A, G, rest, D, D, G, 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 D, D, G, 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 lots of G's, G, 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 last line, G, 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 D, E, E, D, B, B, A, G. Excellent. So if you need to do that again, go ahead and roll it on back. But if not, we're going to move on to step 3. Finger and say, but do not play. We're going to be in chin position. You might not be able to see the bottom hand of my recorder very well. I am going to try my best to make sure that you can see it. But here we go. So we're going to go really, really slow. G is just our left hand, right? So we got G, 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 D, E, E, D. Then we lift almost everything up to B, B, A, G. Rest, put your right hand down. D, G, 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 D, E, E, D, B, B, A, G. Rest, put your right hand down. D, D, G, 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 D, D, G, 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 last line, G, 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 D, E, E, D, B, B, A, G. All right, good job. We made it all the way through there. If you need to do that again, roll it back. If not, I'm going to, or rewind, scrub backwards. Then I am going to move on to step 4, and I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it pretty slowly, because remember, we're going very, very slowly. So I'm going to try my best to play nice and slow so you can follow along with me. But first, I am going to clear all of our colors, right? Because in real life, we do not have the colors on our music. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. Breathe, put your right hand down. Breathe, put your right hand down. Last line. There you had it. You did it. Remember, when you are practicing, it's not going to be perfect the first time you play it on the recorder in step 4. And so just like we do in class, you want to go back, you want to think about one mistake that you made and fix one mistake at a time. Because if you try to tackle this and this and that, then it can be overwhelming and then you might lose track of what you're doing. So make sure that you're working on fixing one mistake at a time to make the song the best you can be. I hope that this mini lesson is helpful to you on your red belt adventures. And as always, friends, happy music making.